Ducks, huh? Their demise? Unfortunate demise, as it may be?
Yeah, getting back to it, to be honest with you, I was just talking to Vince about this. When you're leading the league in penalties and penalty minutes, and you're leading the playoffs by a landslide in penalty minutes, Stanley Cup teams just don't go win Stanley Cups with, poor play like that and getting themselves hurt in those kind of situations. You got Eves that's out, you got Gibson that's out, you got Raquel that's out, and then you get Richie to go on and do what he did, and it's just, there's a great quote, I think it was, I think Corey Perry or even Getzloff said, he goes, it's a very structured team over there, and they play structured hockey, and you can totally tell the Ducks aren't structured. It's almost like they're just a bunch of bullies that are going out there and pushing people around and trying to get whatever they can. And those guys, like a guy like Eves, that guy who gets that loose puck that's coming off the goalie, there was nobody there for that stuff, And when you lose a guy like Gibson, I mean, it's
the problem with the style of hockey that the Ducks play during the regular season is that it's hard to maintain that throughout the playoffs. And not get the penalty minutes, not get behind, not make some things that put you at a disadvantage. And so it's hard. It's definitely hard to maintain that. So I get the comment, the quote about, Nashville being a more structured team. And I guess that's right. But the Ducks had more points. The Ducks were, on paper, a better team. But sometimes you have to adapt your game just a little bit, just a hair, and it felt like they didn't quite do that right, and then missed opportunities. Missed opportunities, right?
And bad on the power play. Yeah.
Joseph and Johansson in Game 5 in Anaheim are out. Mm-hmm. You've got that game. You got to win that game.
Exactly.
To me, it felt like that it was over.
Right.
They lose that, and Bernier did pretty well. He filled in pretty well in that game. That was the absolutely missed opportunity in Game 5.
Plus, after the dramatic win in Game 4, where you come back, score in overtime, you'd think that would fire him up enough to say, hey, let's go home and, take care of business.
And I felt like the Predators, and give it to the Predators. I mean, they're the 8th seed. They go in and beat Chicago, and then they go... Was it
swept Chicago?
Yeah, and then is it St. Louis? They beat
St. Louis,
right? And then they come in and take care of us. And I felt like every time that we made a mistake, they took advantage of it.
Yeah.
And we never did that, right? And I got to give it to them. We got a lot of heart. We always came back. But it's like Carl said. You score 3 goals in a playoff game, you should win. You should win that. And. You bring back Carlisle, to come in and put something together, and I don't know, it just felt like, I don't know, there's just stupid mistakes, stupid penalties, and it's coming back. It came back to haunt them.
They were in those games. Bernier was as good as they could expect. He was 13-2-2 during the regular season during his stretch. Yeah. So you couldn't have asked for a better backup. Gibson left early, and Bernier kept him in the game. Again, like you said, some issues there that stifled them. But so the missed opportunity in Game 5, and then in Game 6. They fall behind again.
Yeah,
again, you just can't keep doing that. We talked about that
especially with a guy like Pecorine. I mean, the guy's huge, right? Yeah. And he just doesn't give up 5 goals, 4 goal. It's he's big. He'll take care of a lot of. That's what they said. The little stuff that's usually around. We either hit a post or we just hit his pad, or that stuff just didn't go in. And
the way they came back too in that game.
I'm rooting for him. I hope they go.
Absolutely.
How do you not root for him? 8 seed, go get him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like the Kings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, structured hockey versus guys who like to go out and like to hit, and then special teams again. The Ducks 0 for 4.
Yeah. Critical
penalty that a power play that they get shut out on, and then Sissons comes up with the hat trick goal after. Yeah. That was the key part of that game. So that game is tied. They have the power play. they've got to score.
That's where they got
they've got
momentum
to score. On
And that guy really didn't start playing until April. The assistants get
and again, it's just like what you say. You can game plan for all of their other guys, but Johansson and Fisher out, and
those two big scores.
Two big guys, and assistants stepped in. And it's like they forgot about him.
Yeah.
Or they figured if that guy's going to beat us, let him beat us. But you've got to play. Yeah. It's not like basketball where you can just leave a guy like that open.
Right, yeah.
You got to, if you're going to hit, you got to hit everybody. And if you get the power play, you've got to.
And then
put it in.
I read this afternoon that we don't get a first round draft pick now because of the Eves.
That's right.
Yeah, so we don't even have a first round draft pick in this year's draft.
Yeah.
But I just, what, I hope they keep Eves. I don't know what they're going to do, and I guess that's the next question. What's next now for the Ducks and the next season? Who do we get rid of? It's going to be very interesting on who we keep. For this this draft for the Vegas team.
For the Vegas team,
yeah. And it's going to get really creative with all of these teams, and hopefully with the success that you guys have talked about with the goals down below. Maybe there's some kids that can fill roles in for next year. But, I don't know. There's a lot of people talking about, hey, it's time for Corey Perry to go. He actually played okay in the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, he had a couple of overtime goals.
Is it time to go? I don't know.
How many more years do you have on that? That was a 5-year deal, wasn't it, originally?
And I think they might have one extra. I think he's got one more year.
I hope they hang on to Eves. I think he played well down the
stretch. I think he deserves it. Yeah, he put up good numbers in the small amount of games that he was there. But, do we lose, the goalie that we just, do we? Gibson will be there, but are we going to lose Bernier to the Vegas team? I think you can only secure one goalie.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that they traded Freddie Anderson.
True.
They hung on to him. They knew they would have to either give up Anderson.
But it's like what Vince said. He's a very good backup goalie. He did his job.
No disputing that.
So I think it's a pretty good 1-2 punch if we can hold on to those two guys. But well deserved by the Predators. There's times where I looked at some of our play and I'm like, we don't deserve to go to the next round. With the way things are going. That's probably not a true fan should say that, but so
well, you're an objective fan too. You can be objective.
I gotta kind of say what I saw, type of deal. And there's more times where I just shook my head, going, "How do you take that penalty? What are you thinking? That's stupid." And some of it was Corey Perry took some stupid penalties.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, Kessler did his job when kind of shutting guys down.
Yeah.
But we also needed him to score. He no offensive stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe that's because Getzlaf kind of picked it up. Some of his slack.
He had a good series. Yeah, he had a good series.
So he had a great playoff series.
Even if they had survived this and advanced, so they would have had to win in Nashville to bring it back home for Game 7. Even if they had survived, it looks like it's going to be the Penguins.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't do that. You can't do those types of things. You have to have better special teams in order to beat the Penguins. There's just no two ways about it. That's the bottom line.
Wasn't there a penalty kill that one of the worst in the league?
For us,
Ducks,
it's not good. I don't know if it's the worst, but it's
not the worst, but it's
not good. And their power play was, it's like you said, the
terrible.
Special teams was mediocre at best. Not good at all.
Special needs teams.
Yeah.
What do they need in the way of? They pretty well set for the roster. First 3.
Well, that's
4
what
lines.
that's what I don't. What is it, Vince? You can only secure 25.
Yeah, I'm not
guys.
clear. I'm not clear on it.
I think it's 20 to 25 guys you're only able to secure. So there's going to be a lot of putting names on paper and seeing where contracts are and where they're. So it's
yeah.
really,
I'll do a little research and we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
They did have some good young kids at San Diego.
Yeah, and maybe
kids.
there's some guys that are ready to graduate, and come up. But there are some key guys that I think we need to keep, and I think there's some young kids that could actually maybe, if they were to let Perry go, I think there's some young kids that can fill that role. But it's just like we discussed in the last couple weeks, hockey's getting much quicker. It's getting much quicker, and. Yes, you're going to need some big defensemen, and you're going to need some good, strong fourth lines. Right. But I think those first 2-3 lines need to be fast, man. I saw that with Edmonton. I mean, Edmonton looks like a
They're
scary
quick.
team.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they could add some more bulk into the backside of that, team there with some bigger guys in defense and a stronger fourth line. But I'll tell you, that's a team that's going. I think they could probably add another strong goalkeeper to give Talbot a run for his money type of deal.
Yeah.
But
they're going to be around.
I think you watch out. I think that's a team to reckon with, and that's what opened my eyes. I mean, I went to a couple games. I'm like, these kids are just blowing by us. And I think we talked about
it's not like the old days in hockey when it was like a Korea or something where it's got to be a little guy who's fast.
Yeah.
These are some big boys who are just screaming down the ice.
Yeah, they are.
It's not like the old days where it was like little guys like a Marcel Dion or Paul Correa or whatever, where these guys that can score and get around you because they're tiny and they skate fast. No, these are big boys.
guys who are fast.
And that's
with
kind
great
of what
footwork and great.
And that's
stick
what I
handling.
kind of like about the Preds. And this coach, you got to give this coach his, I think this is his third team. He's taken to the Stanley Cup. He's won one, lost one, but he took the Hurricanes to the win there back in 2006 and 2010. I think he lost with the Flyers, but he looks like he's got to put a team together and say, you want to play fast, I'll play fast. You want to play slow, I'll play slow. And he just and there it goes back to the structure. He's like, okay, this is the way the team plays. We'll play their way, but he also looks like a guy who says, you want me to slow it down? I can slow it down a little bit. So
He'll adapt. He'll adapt to the.
He'll adapt to whatever. Because I think he was kind of pushed Chicago around, but then he had to play fast against St. Louis, and he did. So I think he's got himself they have good defensemen that can shoot too. So is it Grenion or big kid number 76? I mean, he came from Montreal. Kid's got a big shot from the defense. Good player. So,
anybody have
Gaudreau? No, he's a center. Gaudreau is a center. No, there's Ekholm on defense. There's Subban.
There you go. Subban. That guy can shoot his puck. I mean, and he can direct it.
Oh, he's a big kid. Yeah, he's
big kid. Yeah.